Kadosh, Boker Or. Daf Yomi Masechet Shevuos Daf Memvav Amud Aleph 46a1. If you remember, we were talking about the Reisha and the Seifa. Whether it's going to be the Reisha and the Seifa, the Zechut of the Sachid is only if he's going to bring a Ta'ana. So also in the Reisha, when it's written that the Sachid is going to be Nishvav and Hotel, which means he's going to swear and take, right? En lo zchut ela kishemevi raya, only if he's going to bring a raya. Raya de l'shalem ktani, raya de shua lo ktani. Fine. This is where we're starting. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, says Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba. We're talking about here in a case where you have the balabait and the sachid. They're arguing what was the wages. So imagine I come to work for you, and all of a sudden, no. But even before paying, the question is, what was the wages? Meaning we have, after the fact, they come and say, there's a machloka. What was the wages? What was the salary? So Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba, shalchu le mi ber Rav l'Shmuel. They sent from the academy of Rav to Shmuel. Yelamdenu Rabbenu. Teach us our rabbi. Yeah? Uman. Omer. Shtaim katzatzta li. Yeah? He says, Uman says, yeah, he says, Shtaim katzatzta li. Right? You gave me two, right? 2 slaim for the salary. The hala omer, the balabait says, Lo katzatzi lechalakha. What are you talking about? I only gave you one. Meaning, let's say it's going to be, right? If I'm changing it to dollars, right, or things, it's going to be $2 or $1. Yeah. So minishba, who has to swear? No. At the end of the day, right? Who has to swear? So Amar lahen, so he comes and he says, Bazo, in this case, Yishava balabait, right? The balabait is going to swear. V'yafsid uman, and the uman will come and he's going to lose the extra. He says because for sure the balabait will remember what was the salary that they agreed upon. So because of that, that's why they said the Chachamim come and they said that they were going to be oker, right? The shvuah from the balabait, right, and put it to the uman. Here they don't need to do it. Why? Because at the end of the day, he just has to swear and he has to pay. So says the Gemara, any is it so? Vatani Rabba bar Shmuel taught Rabba bar Shmuel katzatz. 1 second. I thought that when you're going to have a case of ketzitza, right? When you have a case of ketzitza, hamotzi mechavero alav raya. The sachid is coming to take it away from the balabait. So therefore, alav raya. Vilomaiti raya. Now, if he's not going to come and bring a raya, right? So paka. He goes out without anything. So amai. So then why? Why are you going to say that? Right? So he says, so yishava balabait, you have siduman. So therefore, why is it, right, that the balabait is swearing, right? And then he's going to come and he should lose, right? What's going on over here? At the end of the day, according to Shemuel, even if he was not, right, moder b'miktzat, right, still Chachamim come and they say that he has to swear. Right now, from the bright, it's mashma that if he doesn't come and bring a proof, so if he doesn't have to do nothing. So the question is, why Bichal does he have to swear at all? What's going on? So Amar Rav Nachman says of Nachman, Litztadim ktani. You're right. O mevi raya v'yitol, or yishava balabay v'yafsida uman. Or. What does that mean? 2 choices. The guy is the worker. Remember, the sachid is the worker. He's the poel. So he's the one that's coming and he's trying to work. So it's either that he's going to come and he's going to take, right, the work, as they say, or, right, in such a case, right, he's going to come and bring a raya and he's going to get paid, or the balabait is going to swear and then he's going to be patur, and then the uman loses out. Okay, so fine. So says the Gemara, meitvei. So we're going to ask a question. Hanoten talito uman. If you're going to come and give a talit to the uman, right, to fix. So imagine you're giving your clothing to an uman to fix. Yeah. The uman omer katzatz li shtaim. So the uman says, listen, you have to pay me $2. Right? Vala omer, he says, no, I only could do $1. So kozman shatali biyad uman, as long as the talit is in the hand of the uman, al balabait lavi raya. So now the balabait has to come and he has to bring the raya because he's a motzi mechavero, but he's trying to take away the talit from the uman, right, by paying him only 1. Nitanalo, but now if he already gave it back to him, so if it was going to be Bismano, now he's asking for the money on time, Nishba. So the Uman has to swear, right, that it was Su, and then he's going to take it. Avar Zmano, if it already passed the time, Hamotzi Bechavaro Varaya. Now it's on him to bring the Raya. Now it's on the Uman to bring the Raya. Bismano Miha. However, though, if it's in the proper time, Nishba Venotel. Who swears? The Uman. The Uman swears, and then he takes the money. היה שובר, כן. לא, אבל שובר זה בדרך כלל אחרי שאתה משלם, לא בשביל פרסופוסטו. לא. לא על התשלומים, מדברים על ההסכם, לא על התשלומים. על ההסכם, זה בדרך כלל אין שובר. So he says, why? He says, ישבה בעל הבית והפסיד האומן. So says the Gemara, why do you tell me that נשבע ונוטל? It should be, ישבה בעל הבית והפסיד האומן. So answers the Gemara, Amar of Nachman bar Yitzchak, says of Nachman bar Yitzchak, Kamani, who is this? Rabbi Yehuda, it's Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar that he comes and he says, Kol zman sheshevua nota etzel balabait, right? When we come and we say that as long as there's going to be the shevua by the balabait, which means, mina Torah, the shevuat Torah is going to be on the balabait. Why? He was modeh b'miktzat. So a sachir nishba v'notel, right? The sachir is going to swear, right? And he's going to take. Yeah? So he comes and he says, yeah? He comes and he says, yeah? Yeah? So he comes and he says like this. He's going to be nishba v'notel. Right? So he's going to yishava and then he's going to take. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, in every case where the balabait is going to be mitchayev a shvua doraita, akru chachamim the shvua and they put it on the sachir. Even when they're going to be mitvachim al ktzitza as well. And therefore the braita that says that the uman, right, is bizmanon nishbav notel, is even if they're going to be arguing on the set price, since the balabait is modeh b'miktzat. Okay, but chachamim come and they say, no, why, when they're going to come and they're going to be arguing, right, on this price, so the balabait is going to swear, and then he's going to be patur. And Shmuel says, the balabait is going to be patur, that's chachamim. Obviously, we pass like chachamim, right? So he says, hi Rabbi Yehuda, which case is Rabbi Yehuda? So he says, if you're going to tell me it's Rabbi Yehuda the Matnitin, Rabbi Yehuda of our Mishnah, he says, Achmurika Machmir. Rabbi Yehuda was more Machmir than the Chachamim. Titznam, as we said, Rabbi Yehuda said, Ad shetesham miktzat todah. You remember we kept on bringing the cases, right? We kept on bringing the cases of we kept on bringing the cases of machloke between Chachamim, right, and Rabbi Yehuda. In every single case, we kept on saying that according to Shitat Chachamim, right, he would have to come and he would have to swear, whether it's talking about the Sachid, whether it's talking about all the other cases that were brought down in the Mishnah, that there's going to be machlokot, he has to swear. Rabbi Yehuda argued, and he said no, that it's only going to be, there was going to be a hoda'ah b'miktzat, that's when you have to actually come, right, and you're going to have to swear. Other than that, you do not need to come and not to swear. So he comes and he says, if you're going to tell me that it's a Yehuda of the Mishnah, right? He says it's not true because Rabbi Yehuda of the Mishnah is more machmir, no more mekel. Meaning there, he was more machmir. Because he says, no, he doesn't have to swear unless it's modeh b'miktzat. But Chachamim over there said, right, you have to swear. So he says it can't be Rabbi Yehuda of the Mishnah. So he says it has to be Rabbi Yehuda the Braita. It's Rabbi Yehuda of the Braita. The Tanya, because we learned in the Braita, Sachir, kol zman shelo avar alav zmano, hareze nishba v'notel. Right, the Sachir, to do with a person that's working, as long as it's not over zmano, he just swears that he takes his salary. Vim lav, now if it's going to be until after zmano, eno nishba v'notel. The Amar Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says, Matai, when do we say this? Bizman shamarlo, if he told him, tell me schari, right, 50 dinar, sheyesh li biyadcha, give me the schar, Yomi $50, $50. The woman, he says, no, what are you talking about? He kabalta men dinar zahav, you already got a dinar zahav, which is going to be half of the amount, 25. Okay, because it was dinar zahav. So he comes and he says, O shamarlo, he told him, shtayim katzatzta, ve'ala omer lo katzat elichat. It was a machloket, what was the price, what was the salary? Aval amar lo sechaticha be'olam. But if the guy came and he said, I never got you to work for me. Or shamar lo, he told him, sechaticha, I got you to work for me, but I already paid you back. So on him, he has to bring that ayah, which means he cannot come and take out of him, right? Even on the Shevuah. So you see from here that Rabbi Yehuda is coming and saying Shitato is even when they're arguing on the salary. Meaning, even when there's a machloket, what was the salary talking about? How much was the salary? That's also Shitat Rabbi Yehuda. So, Matkifla Rav Shesha Bered Ravidi. Ask Rav Shisha Bered Ravidi. He says, Ella, but rather he comes and he says this. Katzatz, when we're talking about the case of Ketzitza, remember, Ketzitza means that they come and they fixed a price. Anything which is Davar Katzutz means that something which is going to be fixed. Okay? So he says this. Ella Katzatz, Rabbi Yehudai, Velo Rabbanan. Are you going to tell me then this Shitat Rabbi Yehuda and not Rabbanan? Hashta, Hechi de Machmir Rabbi Yehuda, Mikil Rabbanan. Hecha de Mikil Rabbi Yehuda, Machmir Rabbanan. One more time. What is Shitat Rabbi Yehuda? We know Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah. Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah, was he Machmir or Mekel? In the Mishnah, was Rabbi Yehuda Machmir or Mekel? He was Machmir. Because according to Shitat Chachamim, one second, because according to the Mishnah, read the Mishnah again. What did the Mishnah say? The Mishnah came, right, and the Mishnah said as follows, right, in all the cases where you had the, right, Rabbi Yehuda in the Mishnah, right, what did he say? He comes and he says like this, he says, Elmaleh Chenvani, give me a dinar perot. He comes and he gives it to him. He says, give me the dinar. He said, I already gave it to you. You put it in your, Yishava balabait. He has to swear. Right? Amarlo, he comes and he says, right, Netatim ve'olechtim lechavedecha, Yishava chenvani. So there's going to be a difference between who's going to swear, the balabait or the chenvani. Comes Rabbi Yehuda and he argues and he says, no. Comes Rabbi Yehuda and he says, ve'omer kol she'aperot biyado, yado le'yonah. So he's arguing. Another case of Rabbi Yehuda, right, where it is going to be the first case, let's say, or the other ones, right? Whenever we're talking about Rabbi Yehuda omer ad shetesha miktzat hoda'ah, right? Which is going to be memdala de mubet, right? All these cases, Rabbi Yehuda was more machmir because the Tanakama kept on saying nishba v'notel, and Rabbi Yehuda comes and he says en asachid nishba v'notel ad sheteh miktzat hoda'ah mitzat shel balabait. That means he says, right, that he's more machmir. So if he's more machmir and he says, in order for you to be chayav השבועה, שבשבילך לעשות שבועה, אנחנו יותר מחמירים שצריך להיות דווקא הודעה במצת. אם אין הודעה במצת, אין שבועה. So now he comes and he says like this. If right now you're going to tell me, right, that the Rabbanan, Rabbi Yehuda is machmir, Rabbanan are mekilim, so in a case where you're going to tell me that Rabbi Yehuda is going to be mekel, now you're going to tell me then that Rabbanan are machmir? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Meaning, if you're going to tell me Rabbi Yehuda is always machmir, so who's the machmir? Rabbi Yehuda. Who's the mekel? Chachamim. So in our Mishnah, who's the mekel? Chachamim. Who's the machmir? Rabbi Yehuda. And all of a sudden now you're going to tell me the opposite? That Rabbi Yehuda is going to be, right, he's going to give a psak halacha and Chachamim are going to be machmirim? Chachamim yoter tamid mekilim. Right? Not, it does, the svara does not make sense. That's what he's asking. Then the Gemara asks the question though, and that's what the Gemara is asking now also as well. Right? 1 minute. I have to, I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of a thought. So he comes and he says like this. So he says ve'elamai. So therefore he says, what exactly are we talking about then? It has to be the Shitav Rabbanan. Because if we're going to tell you now that this is going to be the Shitav Rabbi Yehuda, it does not make sense why in our Mishnah is going to be Machmir, and all of a sudden he's going to be Mekel more than Rabbanan. And Rabbanan are Machmirim. So he says it has to be Chachamim. Ve'ela ha detana Rabbi Shmuel. Katzatz amoti mechavel Rabbi Leya. So mani, so who is that then? It's not going to be Rabbi Yehuda, not going to be Rabbanan. It's not going to be either of them. So he comes and he says, right? Ela man Rava, but rather Rava comes and he says, Behaka mipalgei, he comes and he says, this is the argument between them. Rabbi Yehuda Savar, Rabbi Yehuda holds, B'deoraita avdule takanta lesachir. Meaning, the Chachamim came and they made a takana for the sachir. And therefore they put on the Shevuos on him to be Yishava v'yitol. Right? Doesn't matter whether it's on the Piraon or on the Ksitza. So לא משנה אם זה שהאם אתה שילמת לו, או כמה זה היה המשכורת. Rabbanan, however, though, he comes and he says, Rabbanan, which means that they're going to make a Shavua Rabbanan, right? That he's going to be Kofer or whatever it is. Havai Takanta, he comes and he says, that's going to be the Yikar Takana, Takanta le Takanta lo dinan. So then we don't do a Takana for another Takana, right? Rabbanan Savre and the rabbis come and they hold right? בדרבנן נמי אבדינן תקנת לשכיר וקציצה מיתקא דחיר. So he comes and he says the rabbis actually hold also in a Shevuah Rabbanan, where he's going to be kofar on everything, they still make a takana for the sachir that he should swear and take it. And therefore, to do with the kitzitza, though, the balabait has to remember. So since the balabait has to remember, so therefore, in such a case, right, it's going to be still by the balabait. Okay? Meaning like this, right? One more time. That's the Gemara. Nigzal Ketzad. What's the case of Nigzal? You remember the Mishnah? We said that if somebody was stolen from. So he said, what's the case of Nigzal? Right? So imagine right now you have two witnesses come and they say this guy comes into the guy's house and he took something else. So Nishba hotel. So he's going to make a Shevuah and he's going to take it back. Yeah, he's going to make a Shevuah and take it back. So says the Gemara, V'dilma maybe bemed lo mishkino. How is it enough, the uvda, right, that we heard at the beginning, the kavanah was mamash legozlo, in order to lizakot et tovea. He says, Milo amar Rav Nachman, Hayman denaki narga biyadev. If somebody has a garzan is a garzan, red axe. Amar, and he comes and he says, Ezel ve'iktele ledikla de plania. I'm going to come and I'm going to cut down the dekel by the palm tree of Mr. So-and-so. V'ishtakach diktal v'shadi. Now, all of a sudden, they come and they find it cut down. Lo amlinan dehu katle. We do not say that he was the one that cut it down. Right? Almas, you see from here. Avid inish gazim velo avid. People come and they say things, and they're not going to do it. Hachanami de gazim de lo avid. So to hear they say things, and they don't do it. You understand? So he comes and he says like this. Hachanami de gazim velo avid. Meaning that many times a person will talk, and they won't do anything. Yeah, you heard? People talk and they don't do anything. Eima says the Gemara, right? That which we come and we say, shenichnas lebeto lemashkeno, umishkeno shelo birshut. So says the Gemara, which means that the Edim actually saw that they came into the house and he took the chafetz shelo birshut. So therefore it's mamash is gozal. So says the Gemara, velechze. So why don't we just say mimishkeno? Right? What was the mashkon? Right? What did he take? What's going on? We're talking about a case where the balabait is tovia from the gazlan, right? That he took him small kelim, that he came and he hid them. Meaning, it wasn't talking about the guy came into the house and he came out and he has something in his hand. It's hidden, certain things which are hidden. So that's what he's starting to ask him for. Okay, so Amar Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda says, "Ra'u sheitmin kelim tacha kanafav v'yatsa." They saw that he started putting things underneath. He started hiding things, and then he went out. Memvav mubet. Yeah, 46b. The Amar, so he says, "Lekuchinem biyadi." He says, "I bought them." So Ener Ne'eman, he's not going to be believed. Why is he not going to believe? Because lama hu machbi otam. Yeah, אבל למה הוא מחביא אותם גם כן? כאילו, כן, בדיוק, בדיוק. ולא אמרן, אלא בעל הבית שאינו עשוי למכור כליו. We're talking about a בעל הבית that he doesn't sell his utensils. אבל בעל הבית עשוי למכור כליו נאמן. But if it's going to be a בעל הבית that he sells, he does garage sales all the time, right? So he sells his things. So then he's going to be believed, right? Next halacha. Yeah. Meaning that he's a guy that he sells his utensils. לא, לא קשור להחביא. אז בגלל זה אני מאמין לו שהוא באמת, הוא קנה את זה. בגלל הוא אמר שזה קנוי.
הוא עשה גרסל.
מי זה הוא?
בן אדם א' עשה גרסל, בן אדם ב' נכנס אליו, יצא עם דברים בתוך חולצה.
כן.
אז אתה מאמין לזה שיצא עם דברים בתוך חולצה?
בגלל הוא אמר, לקוחים בידי. אני קניתי את זה. כן.
אז שני הקומבינות ששניהם זה בסדר.
says the Gemara. Yeah, so he says, ושאין עשוי למכור את כליו נמי לא אמרן, אלא דברים שאין דרכן להטמין. But those are going to be that it's not going to be normal to come and to hide them. Right? Why? Because the balabait is not, meaning according to this, it has to be the balabait, he doesn't usually sell his utensils, and there's sukelim that a person is not mitbayesh to go take them out in the street. But dvarim shedarkan latmin, ne'eman, if it's something normally to sell, to hide, so then you're going to be ne'eman. Why? Because it's normal to hide them. Meaning if it's something that it's not normal to hide, so why are you hiding it? You understand? Fine. Ve'she'en darkan latmin, even ones which are not normal to hide. Nami lo amran ila ilish de lo tzaniya. We're talking about a person that is not tzanua b'ofim miyuchad. Aval inish tzaniya, but somebody that anyway his stam is tzanua, hainu orchet. That's normal. Meaning certain people, they're very, very private, very humble. So therefore, what happens is that these people, they'll hide anything, even their own things. We're not talking about going to somebody's house. You come, they're always very, very to themselves, very, within their daladamot, they don't, you understand? So if it's normal for him, so then that's orche, that's normal. Velo amra.
דיברת על זה יום שבת,
על מה?
יהלומי.
כן.
אחד שאני מכיר, שמענו את זה שראשון, אני אתבלע, יום שבת.
He says, Lo amran, and also we're not talking about Ella, Omer Sheulin, Veze Omer Lekuchin, that there's a machloket, was it borrowed or was it purchased? Aval begnuvin, but if it's going to be saying that it was stolen, Lav kol kiminen lachzuki inish began velo machzikin, but we're not going to say that a person is going to be a ganav without a din. Meaning, since the Tana Balabait is not going to be mitkabelet, so therefore the machzik is going to make a Shevuot set that he actually bought it and he's going to be Ne'eman. Velo amran, and also a fifth thing now, Ela b'dvarim asuim la'ashil laski, something that's normal to rent out and to lend. Aval dvarim she'en asuim la'ashil laski, but it's something which you do not do it, right? You do not start, lending out. Ne'eman, you are going to be believed, right? Why? Because basically that he actually bought it. Meaning you can't say that I only borrowed it from him because it's not normal to borrow these things. Right? Tishalach Rav Huna bar Avin. If he comes and he says, no, I bought it, he's not going to be believed. Why? But if it's a suyim lashil l'skin, so therefore that's it. It could be that you just borrowed it. But imagine, I'm going to go to your house, I'm going to borrow whatever it is, a can opener. And afterwards I'm going to come in, I'm going to say, you know what, I bought it. Now, why did you buy it? Maybe you borrowed it. I'm saying it's normal for you to borrow it. If it's going to be jewelry, that you usually don't lend out jewelry, so it doesn't make sense that you borrow jewelry. I mean, you have to be very, very close for those things. Understand? But if it's this, right? So he says, Kiad Rava Apik, just like Rava came out, he took out Azuga de Sarbela. Right? We're talking about Mamash scissors of the Sorke Begadim. We're talking about that they come and they weave the clothing. Right? So he says, Vesifra Dagata, or a Sefra Vagadot, Miatme from Yitomim. Tadvarim Asuyim Leashir Leskin. Right? And he brought witnesses. So he said that he actually lent it to the Aviyatomim. So Rabbi actually accepted it and he took away the misparaim and the sefer and everything. Now, the father, if he was alive, he would have actually swore that he bought it. So now that he died, right, we're going to be to'en to the Yitomim that we read, the father bought it. Because everything that the father could have be to'en, we are to'en for the Yitomim after his death. So it comes out, the father could not have said that he bought it. Why? Because since they're made lashil v'laskid, he could never say, I bought it. One more time. For Yitomim, we are to'en for the Yitomim, whatever the father would have been to'en if he was alive. So if the father of the Yitomim was alive, he could have said A. So now that he's passed away, we say A for the Yitomim. But we cannot say B if the father would have not said B. Meaning we cannot be to'en yoter mima sha'aba haya to'en ima abba haya chayim. B'chayim, ken? Okay. So now what happens like this. Here, the father could not have said that he bought it. Why? These are dvarim shasuim lashil v'laskid. Meaning people rent out, or they borrow, they lend out, or they rent out a sefer, or this misparaim, this scissors. So since it's made to lend out or to rent out, I cannot say afterwards that I bought it. I'm going to go to your house, lend me the book. I come afterwards, where's the book? I bought it from you. What do you mean you bought it from me? Yeah, I bought it from you. He says, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, I bought it from you. So no, you can't say that. Why? Because if it's dvarim shasuim lashiv laskid, there's no raya that you bought it. Because maybe you just borrowed it. And the fact that you borrowed it or you rented it from me, you can't say that. Yeah? So Amar Rava. Rava comes and he says, Afilu shomer nishba, va'afilu ishto shel shomer nishba'at. Do you know, even the shomer, right, which is basically the shomer, which is going to be mufkad on shminat habayit, he's going to swear instead of the balabait, right, that it was stolen from him, or even the wife will swear. Yeah? So here, it's not only going to be even the balabait, even the shomer alabait. כן? אתה מבין מה זה shomer alabait? יש לך בן אדם שהוא השומר. He's the one in charge. He's a butler. He's a whatever it is. So he's watching what's going on. He could also swear. Not only can he swear, even the baalat habayit, she could swear as well. This guy came into the house and he took this. She could also swear. So by Rav Papa comes and he says, Schirol kitomai. What about the sachir, right? Which is basically the ones, can they also swear mikoach balabait or not? Answers the Gemara. Teiku. right? He says because usually he doesn't give them the things to watch over. The question is, did they make a takana kolelet or not? And therefore it's included in the takana. So that's why we don't have an answer. So Elmaleh Rav Yemal Rav Ashi, te'ano bekasa de kaspa. If right now he was telling that he stole a gavia kesef, he went in and he took a kiddush cup. Yeah, what's halacha? So chazina inish damidu. We're going to see the person is very, very rich, right? So therefore, or inish de me'amanhu, or the person is a ben adam ne'eman. That people come and they're mafkidim their things by him. So mishtaba v'shakil. So therefore he's going to be nishba that the other guy come and he stole it, and then he's going to take it. V'lo, but if he's not a nashid, or he's not a ne'eman that he should have it, lo, then we don't actually come, and we're not going to be toveach chafetz kol kach yakar. Meaning, we're going to try to see what is the person. If the person is very rich, so it means it's his, right? Or he's ben adam meod ne'eman. So even if he's not rich and he doesn't have anything, right? But still, he's a ben adam ne'eman. Anashim yicholim lavi lo et zeh lishmor al zeh. But if it's going to be that it's not this and neither that, meaning neither or, so if in such a case, he shouldn't have had it. So for the fact that he had it, it might be, it must have been, what you believe. Nechbal Ketzad. What was the case of Nechbal? Remember, the guy comes into the room, right? I beat him up, and then he comes out and he's all beaten. So he comes and he says, you beat me up. You owe me money. Right? So Amar Rabbi Meshmuel says Rabbi Meshmuel, Lo shanu ela b'mkom sheyachol lechbol, right? Be'atzmo. He says, because maybe he says, if right now the Kabbalah is found in a place where he could have done it to himself, because since I'm going to suspect that he didn't do it, right? Or maybe be'emet hu chaval be'atzmo, so he can't collect without a Shevuah. Aval b'mkom sheni yachol lechbol be'atzmo. But if he cannot do it to himself, notel shelo b'shvuah, he could take the money without Shevuah. Meaning like this: imagine a guy comes into the room, right? There's only one person in the room. He comes out and he's all beaten up, and then he comes and he says, "The guy beat me up." So now we come and we say, okay, fine, let's check. If it's a place where he could have done it to himself, right? So therefore I'm going to say, listen, right? He did it to himself, right? You know how it is. They put on the show and then they come out and they say, look what happened and this and that. You understand? But now he comes and he says, but if it's going to be, right, the other way around. What's the other way around? He couldn't have done it to himself. So therefore, if he couldn't have done it to himself, for sure it was the other guy. If it was the other guy, he doesn't even have to make a shvuah. He comes and he collects damages. So says the Gemara, okay, fine. What's the only case that he couldn't have done it to himself? On his back area. Because if it's on his front, he could hit himself on the front, right? So the back. Maybe he went against the table, the chair, the wall. The Gemara gives the case of the wall, but meaning he could have still done something. So Tani Rebuchia, he comes and he says, right? That's why he said it's written on the wall, right? So he says, right? So he says, Tani Rebuchia, Shalta lo neshicha begabo, uben atzilei yadav. No. There was a neshicha, meaning whatever you want to do on your back, you could hurt yourself with your back against the wall, yes, but you can't bite yourself. You understand? Nobody could somehow put his, so if somebody bites you on the back, right? Yeah, not Tommy. Yeah. So he comes and he says, right? He comes and he says that neshicha, right? Whether it's going to be ben atzilei yadav, right? Or, right, we're talking about the gabo, obviously it came from somebody else. So ask the Gemara, v'dilma acher avile. Maybe it was somebody else. Yeah, maybe it was somebody else that did it. And so the Gemara, lecha acher, there's nobody else. So fine. So because of that, obviously there was nobody else. He comes in, he didn't have it beforehand, and all of a sudden now he has it. So they're going to say it was that guy.
What happens?
He comes and he says, "Vafilu shvuat shav, even shvuat shav. Maya filu shvuat shav. Lo mi baya kama." What does that mean? Lo mi baya hanach de'it behu kfirat mamon. Right? He comes and he says, not only are you talking about in the case of kfirat mamon, ela filu hanami, even in this case, kfirat dvarim be'almahu, that it's going to be kfirat dvarim. Yeah? So he comes and he says that he's not going to cause nezek la'adam acher, and he's doing an avera ben adam le'makom, right? And not ben adam le'chavero. Lo me'eman, he's not going to be believed. So says the Gemara, "Velitin nami shvuat bitui." So when we speak about also shvuat bitui, so he says, "Ki ktani shvuat dechitia mishtaba b'shikra kamishtaba." Al Shavuot bitui, the ikalemem the kushta kamishaba. Maybe he's swearing truthfully. So if we look tan, so teinach, that's good if we're going to say ochal v'lo ochal, but achalti v'lo achalti ma ikalemema. You remember there was a machloket. What is Shavuot bitui? If it's going to be on the future or also in the past. Now, if you're going to tell me that it's going to be on the past, there is going to be a sheket or not. So Tana Shavuot Shav. So therefore, it's true. We learned Shavuot Shav bechol the damila. It has to be anything which is domeh to the Shavuot Shav.